Are you thinking about selling your home? We're going to uncover some common mistakes that homeowners make, and we're going to help you sell your house for the most money on your timeline. Hey everyone, I'm Bob Safaya, and I have Brandon Cox here with me today. Our team, the New Home Collective, has sold close to 2,000 homes.
And we have over 800 5-star Google reviews. Yes, we just said over 800.
Today, I want to go over some of the mistakes that people make and what they should be doing to get their house ready to put on the market. I wrote down a couple of them here, and maybe we could start with emotional attachment.
Right.
When I think of emotional attachment, I think of the lady on the farm in Stamping Ground. It was an expired listing maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and went out to the property, and she had a plate collection. And that plate collection was all the way around the room, on the wall. She had the house on the market for like a year before we got it, right?
Yeah.
Think about that emotional attachment you have to the property. Now, her husband had passed away, and this was a beautiful 60-acre farm, I think, 60 acres or so, 50 acres.
It was gorgeous, yeah.
It was beautiful, but, you know, it was just too much work for her. And she didn't have a plan on how to get out. But that was the very first thing I noticed was those plates around the room. And let's talk about that first. I'm sure you've walked into properties where it doesn't appear that the people are moving.
Yeah, and you guys see it all the time when you're looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, or whatever. You see those pictures with stuff everywhere in the kitchen or the bathrooms or the bedrooms. And in your head, you're probably thinking, man, these people aren't ready to sell. So kind of we run into that all the time as well.
So the advice to her was start boxing this stuff up. And what people will say is, well, we don't want people to see all the boxes. We don't want to fill the garage full of boxes. Well, guess what? You're selling your house. Like, people want to see that you're in the process of moving.
Yeah.
Like, that gives people the ability in their minds to move their own stuff in. I think that's one of the first things that needs to be addressed. And I'm not a psychologist, but I know once you start packing, it gets those thoughts moving. So that would be my piece of advice. Do you have any advice for people that have an emotional attachment?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know, you spend a lot of time, probably a lot of money fixing it up, doing it what you wanted to do. But you got to think, like, these people that are coming in, like, just not to be, mean, but they don't care. They don't care what you've got into it, what you've done, your emotions. They just want to make sure they're going to come in and get a good deal and get the house.
It rolls right into decluttering. I think these are two separate things, right? Because, people have a lot of stuff. But when we're talking about cluttering, let's talk about that, maybe some examples of what we see, where people maybe think it's a decoration.
Yeah.
Right? Like the olive oil on the kitchen counter.
Take it off.
The canister of spatulas.
Yeah,
it's like,
take it off.
Over the years, it becomes a decoration to some, but in the eyes of a photographer or in the eyes of the internet, it becomes clutter. So
yeah, I mean, kind of like what he was saying too. I mean, if there's like a ton of pictures and stuff all over the walls, and if you have a ton of furniture, like we always just tell people, look, start boxing up, start taking the stuff out that you don't use on a daily basis. I mean, look, the people understand the house is vacant. They understand somebody lives there. But get the stuff out of there that you don't use on a daily basis, because then the pictures are going to look better when they're walking through. It's not going to be as like, they can tell, they can see, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this in the rooms, whereas right now they can't if you've got a ton of clutter everywhere.
So if you're taking into consideration, should I leave this out or should I box it?
Box it.
Box it. Should I shove this into a kitchen cabinet before we get photos, or should I leave it on the kitchen cabinet and see what the photographer says?
Yeah, shove it. Put it in the kitchen.
Shove it in.
And look, at when the photos are done, again, people understand that somebody lives there. If you want to put your spatulas and stuff back up on the countertop, put them back up. But for the photos, because that's the first showing. Online's your first showing. So when people are looking and scrolling through the pictures, you want to make it look as vacant as you possibly can.
Let's talk about staging. Now, there's some different thoughts on staging. Are there examples of times when you thought staging was important?
Yeah.
Let's separate it first.
Yeah.
Let's call it like rearranging your own stuff as in staging, or having stuff brought in as in staging. So has there been times where you thought, well, this piece of furniture needs to be moved, or if we need to bring a piece of furniture in here, and why would someone do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it goes back to the whole letting them visualize the size of the room, and just to kind of go a different version or a different way with this. The smaller homes that have like the smaller rooms, a lot of times that's the feedback we get is, the pictures look great, but the rooms are a little small. So if you were to stage those rooms, then somebody can come in and realize, okay, wait a minute, we can put 2 couches in here, or in the bedroom, we can put our king size bed in here. So staging does help. But again, if the property already has stuff, then, like Bob's saying, come in And we could even bring our stager in to tell you, hey, you should maybe rearrange the furniture and the stuff like this with your stuff.
So there's times we work with professional stagers, and there's times where if we need to bring a professional in, we will.
Yeah.
Or, and if you have a unique situation where you don't have furniture and it's a house that we need to put furniture in to make people understand the size and the space, right?
Yep.
Like we're always trying to get people in with the photos, but once they're standing in that room and they say, oh, my king size bed won't fit in here, that's an example of a time when staging is really important.
In most cases it will. It will fit in there.
Right. Repairs and renovations. I think this is probably the biggest one out of all of them. Have you ever came to a house for a listing appointment and they go over this long list of money they spent on renovating this property? Maybe 5 out of 10 of the things that they spent money on isn't going to get them a return.
It's pretty much maintenance, not like a upgrade.
And then renovations comes into adding space, because really adding space is one of the main reasons you're going to add value. I like to say when people spend this money on we put a new roof and we put new windows in.
Yeah.
Look, you own a home. That's part of owning a home. So that doesn't add value, but what it does do, it makes it more saleable. At the end of the day, if a first-time home buyer comes walking through the property with their dad's going to notice that it has new windows, and that's going to be a plus for the dad. And he's going to say, oh, look, you don't have to replace the windows because he just replaced his. He knows how much they cost, right? But as far as what the appraiser is going to bring on it, it might bring $5,000 or $10,000 more to have the house in better condition, but it's not going to bring that 30 G's.
Right.
So the best thing I think to do with that is always to have an agent come out to the property and help you through that process, whether it's should I spend this money or should I not? Because in some cases we'll say spend it. In some cases we'll say, whoa, hold on, that's not gonna make the house bring more money, and I don't think that's a good idea right now.
And be open to that conversation with the agent.
Be open to the conversation.
Be open to it.
As far as us and our opinion on that, I'll come out to a property anytime. Mm-hmm. Like there's no obligation ever to list your property when we come out. So if you ever want our opinion, that's always available. What are some renovations that you've seen that have added money, or have you seen anything? Like, does anything stick out to you that you've seen?
I mean, really, the only thing I would say is maybe finishing a basement, something like that, because then you're adding the square feet to the property. But kind of like what he was saying, if your HVAC unit's 30 years old and you replace it, come on, man, that's maintenance. That's not an upgrade. I mean, that needed to be done.
Right.
And a lot of times people feel that in their heart that's an upgrade and they should be able to charge, list the property for $10,000-$15,000 more than really what it needs to be listed at, and that's not the case.
The number one reason why houses don't sell.
Pricing.
It's the number one reason. Oh, well, we're not priced too high. Well, if it was priced for $1, would someone buy it today?
Absolutely
they would. So the job of a real estate agent is to get you the very most money, but it's between $1 and what you have it priced for right now. Otherwise, it'd be sold.
Yeah.
What are you looking at to determine prices right now?
In the past, we were doing the old CMAs, comparative market analysis, but really we've got appraisers that we've talked to, and it's kind of like at this moment today, you can't really go by that because it was a different market. And I understand it's frustrating for sellers because right now a lot of the sellers are chasing the old market, thinking they can still price the property like it was when there was those low rates and there was all these buyers trying to fight for the same house, and it's just not that way anymore.
Yeah, we're seeing houses sit on the market for a long time. We're also seeing houses fly off the shelves and go into multiple offers.
Yes,
so,
if they're priced right.
Yeah. So I think that pricing's a big factor. I'm a firm believer that if you price it right and you market it properly, it's going to sell for what it's going to sell for. But if you overprice it and you market it properly, it's not going to sell what it's going to sell for. You're going to wind up taking less for it the longer it's on the market. When it comes to pricing, every property, every location, every neighborhood, every style of home, every single time it's different. When you're trying to look for that one size fits all, I think that's where a lot of people, they've educated themselves with Zillow. Zillow's a great website, and we get a lot of insights from Zillow. As far as pricing my personal home, I wouldn't price my home off of Zillow. I'm going to look at other factors because those are looking at that old, the old data, and we're looking at new data. So that would be the biggest difference between pricing a home with us probably and pricing a home with Zillow.
And it's funny because, and again, I get it. A lot of times when we're in that listing appointment, we're more of we're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And if we tell them the price, they agree with it, but they always say, well, if I go at $150, then they're just going to offer me $120 or $130, and that's not always the case, because if you do price it right, you're going to create that fear of loss in the other buyers, because those other agents are going to be saying, wait a minute, what's going on over here? Let's go check this house out. And you can create that bidding war even in a market like we are in now.
That's really good, Brandon. Well, appreciate you guys watching this video. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel, comment, hit the like button. Really appreciate you being here, Brandon.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sitting in with me today. As always, if you have any questions, throw them into the comments or shoot us a message. There's never an obligation. If we come to your house to help you with any of these things, you don't have to work with us. So why wouldn't you call us? Talk to you soon.